Welcome to Fall Rise Give, a space where we invite you to dig into the real cause of your suffering, looking at opportunities for growth with a change in your beliefs, thoughts, and actions so you can be your true self and be inspired. Join us as we explore life's ups and downs and navigate the twists and turns, sharing stories of resilience, hope, and the transformative power of giving back. Whether you're looking for a change, in recovery, or simply seeking inspiration, this podcast is your go-to for candid conversations, raw emotions, and a whole lot of heart. Tune in and discover how to fall, rise, and give back on life's extraordinary journey. Fall, Rise, Give turns struggles into opportunities by being your true self and help others. That's basically the whole podcast wrapped up into one big, let's just call it a big hug. I'm Bartender Bob. That's Kumar. We're doing this show actually from across the world. I'm in Ferryville, Wisconsin. Kumar, where are you?
I'm in Amsterdam, Netherlands.
So what are you doing there?
Yeah. So my son graduated from high school a week and a half ago. And my daughter graduated from college, as we talked about in one of the other podcasts a couple of weeks ago from University of Washington. And so she was traveling to Europe for 3 weeks, and her mom and her were going to meet in Copenhagen and then go to Netherlands and then go to Paris. So I felt that my son was going to get left out again of a trip. So I'm like, dude, we got to go as well. And so we decided to go to London for the first few days. And then we got to the Netherlands on Friday evening. And then we're going to head off to Paris tomorrow.
Well, that's cool. I mean, that's awesome to be able to take a family trip like that. That's something that, you guys will all remember for the rest of your lives.
Yeah. It's funny. You think about that. How many times do you actually, especially with grown kids, do you actually spend days together, walking around town, going to coffee shop, restaurants, every single moment of the day kind of thing, since you get up to when you're out? So it's a very rare event when the kids are older. And so it is pretty special. And there's all sorts of fun things. We went on a late evening canal boat tour. It was a wine and cheese boat tour. And they were singing classical American songs on that boat. It was just, everything from Mamma Mia to We Are the Champions from the great brand out of England. And so Queen. And so it was just incredible. People singing along, partying in a boat. And we were just laughing and having this time of our lives. And that's kind of what life is all about in a way. And so it's great memories are being built here right now. And we're going to cherish this. I haven't been here for 20 some years. And I know my daughter was here last year studying, but my wife, this is the first time my son is coming out here. So yeah, it's a total blessing to be here and spend time with the kids who are growing up now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I took a trip with my mom and stepdad a couple of years ago. We went to Ireland for 10 days, and spending that much time with your parents, as you said, as an adult, it's different because it takes a whole different, what am I trying to say? Look, because I mean, when you're a kid, your parents are kind of looking after you. And as you become an adult and your parents are older in years, you're kind of looking after them and you're kind of working together to both have a good time, which I thought was a lot of fun.
Yeah. The kids want to do something. My son right now is at the Mike Tyson coffee shop in Amsterdam. Mike Tyson has opened up a cannabis coffee shop here. Wow. And so he loves Mike Tyson. So he wanted to go. He thought it was just going to be a normal coffee. And I'm like, dude, it's actually a cannabis shop. And Mike Tyson is a big pot smoker. And he loves Mike Tyson still. And he's like, I'm still going to go over there. Maybe he'll show up. And Mike Tyson loves Amsterdam. So he wanted a picture with Mike Tyson. So here we are. That's where he is at right now while I'm sitting here with you recording this awesome podcast.
So, what happens if he happens to see Mike Tyson? You'd be like, you know what? I could have been there. Instead, I'm doing this. But what we're doing now is we're changing lives, or at least we're hoping to do that. This week, let's talk about chakra number 7, the abundance and gratefulness. Because, I mean, this last week, I'm just going to let you know that this last week on Tuesday, my daughter, Kennedy, had her second child, and her name is Gianna, and they were born in La Crosse. but had to go up to Mayo Clinic up in Rochester because she had a hole in her heart and was having difficulty breathing. And it seems as though up in Rochester, things seem to be going okay. So, that's where I'm grateful right there, is that I've got a new granddaughter, and an opportunity to get to go see them tomorrow, and hopefully get some hugs and kisses.
That's awesome. That's, I can say that I can't wait to be a grandpa, but I can wait. I'd like to wait a little bit more. But that's awesome. Birth of a child is so special. It's like a little mini you running around, and it's such a precious gift, this thing called life. And so, yeah, that's totally awesome, buddy.
So let's talk about the chakra number 7. So what is this one called?
It's called the crown-chakra, and it sits above your head, essentially. And it's the first of the spiritual chakras. It's the 7th one. And so the way the spiritual energies and the life force energies work is they work from the ground up, from ground chakra, number 1, which our principle that we talked about is acceptance. Then it goes to number 2, which is desire, the sacral chakra. And then you go through your fears and you get the courage and your own self-power through the 3rd one. The 4th one is around compassion and true love in God sort of a way. The 5th one is how you communicate. And the 6th one is desire. We had done one on intuition. I'm sorry, not desire, but intuition. That's the 6th one. And the 7th one is the most spiritual of the chakras. It's the one where universal light, if you want to call it that, or the Holy Spirit, comes from ether into our forehead and into our system, if you want to call it that, the life force. And so words that describe it are abundance, and gratefulness for this thing we call life. And so it's the one that fills us up with divine spirit or white light or energy, whatever you want to call it. It's a whole different thing. And so I'd love to talk more about that if you got a question on that topic so far. But so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Well, let's talk about examples of that. So what are some examples of the crown chakra?
Great. I'm reading a book right now by a psychiatrist and medical doctor from the UK. It's called The Source, and actually a medical doctor who's a friend of mine. I ran into her, I think, on Saturday before I left. I flew out on Sunday night. She mentioned this book on Saturday. I got a big hug from her, and she's an amazing woman in Seattle. And she mentioned this book to me. So I ordered it, overnight delivery, Amazon. I brought it along with me, and I'm about halfway through the book already. And she's done a ton of research on the brain and how the brain and all the different parts of the brain can be optimized to essentially live a life that you want to live. And she's an executive coach, the woman author. Her name is Tara somebody. Anyways, the book is called The Source. You can get it on Amazon. She talks about abundance versus lack. And the way she brings it up is abundance is around a very positive attitude on there's enough for everybody. There's a life that you go around on that you can basically give to other people, give to other things, and that you know that you'll be taken care of, and or you can go after your dreams of personal wealth or whatever it is, being a millionaire or whatever that is. But by having an attitude of abundance, you are automatically in a mindset of growth and success and all of that. Whereas in the mind of lack, you are kind of in a closed heart situation. You're fear-based. You're living to save things and be very conservative. And that's the opposite of growth. You're basically trying to maintain what you have. And you can get rich that way as well if you're super rich and want to maintain that wealth, by
Right.
buying CDs or whatever. But that's not, you're not really getting rich. You're just basically maintaining the wealth that you have. And so the attitude of lack, fear-based, it's negativity, it's conserving things. And so she talks about how to be really successful. Almost, the woman teaches, is a lecturer at Oxford, I think, and as well as MIT on leadership. And she talks about almost all the successful people that she works with have an attitude of abundance, and that abundance attitude fills them up to go after more things that they want, and they feel that they can go after more things and have a really positive attitude. So that kind of gives you a setting around what the abundance attitude does scientifically. And she said the brain actually changes, the neurons in the brains and everything, parts of the brain. She talks about the gut factor that we talked about. There's actually brain nerves, millions of them, in our gut as well as our spine. And she talks about how different hormones are released, endorphins, dopamine, and things like that, when we are working in an attitude of abundance versus when we are in an attitude of lack and fear. More stress hormones like cortisol are released when we're in an attitude of stress or fear and things like that. So hopefully that gives you an example of scientifically. She's got a lot of research in the book that she's mentioned. Studies have been done on the topics around abundance versus lack. And so opening that up to abundance is kind of the seventh chakra is all about.
So how does all this then tie back to like the attitude adjustment program that we've talked about, in the previous episodes?
Yeah, so great point. I call them the 7 principles of life. So they essentially, as I mentioned, the 7 chakras to you before, they coincide with a life that we all want to live, right? We all want to live a life of, I believe, abundance. I believe we want to live a life of our dreams. We often get stuck energetically in our heart sometimes when our heart's broken from a loss of some sort, a job or a personal relationship, things like that. Or we may get stuck in the 3rd chakra with fear and fear of losing someone and or fear of whatever it is that's stopping us. Fear of public speaking is a big one for people. We talked about that one. And so all of these principles tie into living a life of you want. First one is being grounded, right? Acceptance. And the 7th one being abundant. So you start out with being grounded and accepting things as they are. And then the highest form is living a life of abundance, going after your goals. So that's where they tie in. Acceptance is a big part of the attitude adjustment program. I think there is a saying in the attitude adjustment program that fear of people and economic insecurities will leave us. There's lots of promises in the attitude adjustment program in their book, but I haven't coined them, but I've recognized through meditation, prayer, and reading and studying the chakras that these 7 principles apply. And so these 7 principles oftentimes coincide with a way of living that is universal to life and success. I think there's a famous doctor named Deepak Chopra, a medical doctor, again, who wrote a bunch of books called Perfect Health and 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And he mentions a lot of these things as well. And so, so these are really living. They don't necessarily coincide with the one-on-one with the attitude adjustment program, but I think the attitude adjustment program may not be enough for living a life of total fulfillment. It's a great start to get out of recovery. It's a great start to live a normal life and maybe an excited one and a spiritual one. But I think if you want to take your recovery, if you want to take yourself to a highest level, you apply these chakras, the things that we talked about, the 2nd chakra of desire, wanting, having the courage to do the things that you want in life. If that's owning your own business, that's being an artist and being a great musician, guitar player, to owning an art gallery. I have a friend who owns a multi-million-dollar art gallery in Seattle, and the guy is living his perfect life. He travels around the world for super wealthy people and buys art for them. And then he collects a lot of that art in his own art gallery. And so people live this amazing life, and they go after these dreams and they go make it happen. And so to do that, I think these 7 chakras and the principles really can help them get there. So that's a long answer. That's kind of how it ties into the attitude adjustment program, but attitude adjustment program is just the start of it.
You know, with you being in recovery, you're being right now in probably the most um, the area that allows the most types of. You can do drugs there in Amsterdam. There's you said that you're on a wine and cheese um, tour. Is it hard for you to stay with your recovery while you're in a place like Amsterdam?
Not for me personally, because I'm at a place where I am, I'm doing a podcast on how to help people succeed in life, right? How to get
Right.
past the recovery and how to live a life of their dreams. And so for me, it's all about trying to, living an inspired life. So I don't want to have anything to do with alcohol or drugs or anything like that to put in my system, because I feel like I meditate twice a day. I read a book, an hour, 2 hours a day. I'm trying to live a life of inspiration. So to me, it's not tempting at all.
Hmm.
It can be for a lot of people, and so that's why I think the recovery thing can be tough for people. But I feel like I am always going to be careful about not taking alcohol or drugs or whatever. But I think for me, I'm at a level where I want other people to get to is get past the recovery and get
Hmm.
into a place of turning your struggles into opportunities for learning to be your true self, and then have an inspiration to be what you want to do.
So thinking about what you were saying earlier about the fact that like abundance and people living wanting to have abundance. What about the people that are striving for the minimalist life and they try to get rid of things and want to live just the simple life? Is that still possible with the crown chakra?
Yeah, I think that's the attitude of gratitude, right? So abundance and gratitude kind of go in. And so that's the principle from my side. Um, I don't buy a lot of stuff. My family's been out shopping and they've been buying a lot of stuff. I feel I'm a minimalist, right? I don't have a lot of clothes and things that I may have bought. My wife bought me some shirts for the trip, but I don't buy a lot of stuff. I think living a minimalist life works for me, and I think that people who they're living an abundant life if they want a minimalist life because they have more than enough, right?
Hmm.
They're not striving to get more stuff. So I think living a simple, grounded life in a small, tiny home, if you want to live that way, I think that's totally cool. I think that's the attitude of gratitude and abundance. And so you can do whatever you want. But I think it's a lot different than the other opposite end, which is the lack and fear, and that's the negative stuff that comes along with it. So I'd rather have people fill up with abundance and live a minimalist life than people
Right.
living with fear and lack and trying to hoard stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. So they're basically like they're hand in hand then, right?
Yeah,
Is that kind of
yeah,
what I'm hearing with that?
yeah, yeah. It's an attitude of gratitude. When you live a minimalist life, you have more than enough, and you know, um, you're essentially living a very simple life. And I feel like I do that a lot of the times. I'm not saying I don't buy stuff. I tend to spend most of my money on going out to eat, and that's about all I do. That's for entertainment, maybe a little bit of travel here and there, but I don't travel that much either.
Doing both those things are a great way to open up your mind and to learn new things. I mean, going out to eat, of course, you're going to be able to try new things, try new food, and I'm a big fan of trying different things. I don't know if I shared this with you or not, but when I was in San Francisco back in February, and Monique and I went to dim sum with my brother's best friend, who happens to be he's Korean, but he took us to a Chinese place, and we were the only white people in the whole restaurant, and we were the only people using forks.
Yeah,
Everybody else
yeah,
was using chopsticks and stuff, and Jung said, try anything that you want. I mean, anything that you want to try on this whole thing. So I'm looking through the menu, and I saw something that I'd heard people talk about eating, and I thought to myself, I'd never try this, but here it is sitting on the menu. They had chicken feet on the menu in this restaurant
yeah,
in San Francisco. So I ordered chicken feet, and they came out. I had no idea how to eat them. So, he had one, and I'm watching him, and he picks it up with his chopstick. So I picked it up with the fork, tried the best that I could. And I'm watching how he eat it. Cause it's just basically, it's just knuckles and and tendons and things. And I'm eating it, and I watched as he just takes a bite, and he's spitting out the knuckle pieces on his plate while he's eating. So I do the same thing, and I'll give myself this. I tried it. Would I try it again? Probably not. So
Yeah.
but it did open it up. It gave me a chance to try something that I never would. And the surprising part to me is that usually Monique likes to try different things, new foods and things. She didn't even try that and kind of chickened out. And I'm sorry for throwing you under the bus, honey. She's in the other room. She just gave me the old wave. But yeah, she was chicken to try it. Have you ever tried chicken feet?
No, and I don't plan on it either. I'll try lots of different things, but I won't.
A good choice.
There's a guy named Andrew Zimmerman, I think his name, Andrew Zimmer. He had a show on the Food Network or the Travel Network back in the day, and Bizarre Foods. And he would try things like cockroaches and go to all over the world and try these different things. And I was like, no, but I did try something unique yesterday. They have these bitter melon or bitter ballin things that they call them, and they're like croquettes. And it's like inside it is like a veal sausage kind of a soup thing. Right. And so they were awesome. I wanted to try them yesterday. They're different, and they were just super good. It's like getting a dim sum kind of a dumpling that's Asian. And they have this Asian pork soup inside some of the dim sum restaurants in all over the world. There's a famous one in Seattle that it's going to make its way to the Midwest, I know for sure. It's called Din Tai Fung. It's taken the dim sum world by storm. It's a really high-end place. And so they have these specialty dumplings with a soup inside them. And these little ladies in the back are making these things by hand. So that I basically tried the Dutch version of it with veal soup inside it yesterday. And it was super good. You got to try new things in life. How do you know you're not going to like something or love something or hate something unless you try it? And that's part of figuring out who you are, is by trying certain things. In the book, in that one or another book that I'm reading, I'm like halfway through 2 books right now. The other one is called Limitless. I think I mentioned that about Jim Kwik. And he said people think that their passion is the same as their purpose, that they're trying to make their passion their purpose. And passion is something that you'll have a passion for a particular couple of years, maybe really into tennis as I was for a number of years. And then I may be into, natural food and yoga in the next phase of my life or whatever.
Right.
And so purpose is more about, passion is something that you love to do, but you're not going to figure it out until you try a bunch of stuff. And purpose is more about what can you share with your gift to the world. So you can have your passion. It only becomes your purpose when you share that with other people. And so, anyway, you got to try new stuff to be able to figure out what you love, what you like. And then once you start sharing that with the world, and as we're doing, we have the gift of gab, both of us. We like to share. We like to share our thoughts or ideas, and we're good people. And gosh darn it, people like us, And so,
what was that skit? Wasn't that a Saturday Night Live skit or something at one time?
Yeah,
Fridays
totally.
or something like that.
Yeah,
gosh darn it, people love me.
People love me. Yeah, exactly. And so, was it Roy Smalley or?
Yes, it was Roy Smalley.
Roy Smalley. Yeah, gosh darn it, people like me. And so, people like us. People like to be given the positive thing. We're giving them new tools with the 7 chakras to focus on these things. We'll probably talk about some meditation exercises or whatever.
We've been talking about trying new things, and really that's what we need to do, is try new things, and that'll open up your world and give you the opportunity to try to better yourself. And it's all about like the baby steps too, about just kind of not jumping into it full bore, but kind of taking, like the little steps to try to see if you're going to be able to do a good job at it when you try starting off the new things, right?
Absolutely. Do not do anything in a hurry. Do not change your life dramatically. I don't think that your higher power, your divine light, your God or whatever is going to give you a choice. So you turn around and all of a sudden, you're moving to Amsterdam with your family, that kind of thing. So take it easy. Think about it. Be in nature, as we talked about, go for lots of long walks, meditate, and really figure out what you like to do. But baby steps. And I think you're starting a business, maybe figure out somebody else who's in the same business as you are. What are they, go talk to them, go read about it, go do research, go figure out what it takes to start a business of that sort, and take your time and really think about it all the way through. And that's where that being grounded thing comes in. So baby steps, little by little. But it's amazing. I use this analogy with a lot of my employees when I had my companies, and I had employees to the level. I still manage a team of 6 people, whatever, right now. But I had a larger team, about 45 people that I managed at one point. And I used to use the analogy about little and baby steps. You got 2 planes that are going to leave Seattle, Washington, and head east. One is going to head east at, let's say, 45 degrees, and it's going to end up in London. The next one is going to go 45.6 degrees, but over 9 hours, that 45-degree plane lands in London. The one at 45.6 degrees lands in Amsterdam. 2 dramatically different worlds. One, they speak perfect English, all historic English culture. The other one, they speak Dutch and English, but it's a dramatically different culture, right? So over the 9 hours that you fly, you'll end up in a totally different world. And so that's what baby steps do over a year period of time, over a period of 10 years, if you want to call it that. You can end up in a dramatically different place by taking little baby steps. It's that turtle thing that you talked about. You were racing a turtle a few weeks back, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Starts off with the first step, that's for sure. So when it comes to taking baby steps, what about like when you go into recovery? Is that still a baby step type of a thing, or is that at that point are you jumping in with both feet?
It's all baby steps, because nobody ever says, "Hey, I'm never going to drink for the rest of my life." You may say that, but that's not how they look at it. Mm-hmm. In the attitude adjustment program, they basically just say, focus on the now, focus on just today. Don't drink today. Don't use today, right? Mm-hmm. And so baby steps are a big part of it. I've been able to put together the baby steps for myself, and I'm at 9 months plus at no alcohol. I never thought of my whole life that I would get there. I never, like I said, I don't think I had that big of a problem with it. I wanted to lose weight. That's why I stopped drinking. I still drank too much wine on most nights than I should have. I used it to live a numb life rather than a life of inspiration. It got in the way of what I wanted. Hence, I realized I had a problem with alcohol and I wanted to change my lifestyle. And so I did. So I joined the attitude adjustment program, loving every minute of it. Do believe and do agree that I am an alcoholic, because I read enough case studies and research on it. But though a mild one, I'm not a hardcore alcoholic, I would say. But I definitely have the disease in that form. And so for me, the one day at a time, like I said, I am getting so much out of the program and living such an inspired life. I wouldn't even go near that thing as a habit anymore. Mm-hmm. Like I said, reading, meditating, doing a podcast about helping people. That's the last thing in my mind, is to go down that path. But it's one day at a time. That's what they preach. And that's the way to look at anything in life, is baby steps. That's how you're going to become really successful, is do little things a little differently every single day.
Well, let's take a little baby step back to when you said that you'd learned a new prayer from Facebook. Let's check that out.
Yeah, perfectly. So I've got all these mantras. We talked about that one about, I believe I'm divinely guided. I believe I'm always take the right turn in the road. I believe God will always make a way, even if there is no way. That's the one I've used. I've got these Hindu mantras, and I've got the Hail Marys that I do all the time, and I got the Lord's Prayer. And so one of the things that I saw on the Facebook, I got all these amazing reels that I'm part of, members of, or that I follow these people. I've got this guy named Sadhguru, who's like a Hindu guru dude. He's kind of modern age. He's probably in his 50s or 40s or whatever, but he's pretty wise. I got this Buddhist monk dude from Thailand, and he's just the sweetest guy talking about stuff. Then I've got a Chinese guy, and he's Shaolin is kind of his thing. And so all these guys are talking about stuff. And so I get a lot of, in my feed, I get all sorts of funky, new agey, modern, spiritual stuff. And this thing came across probably a couple of months ago at least. And I just love it. And I've been kind of been doing this prayer. There's 2 parts of it. The first part is, it goes like this: I am a magnet for abundance and success. Everything my heart desires comes to me easily and effortlessly. I'm a magnet for abundance and success. everything my heart desires comes to me easily and effortlessly. So whatever's you're focusing on is what you're going to attract. You're going to attract what you are, what you have, and you're going to look at similarities in life and situations. So if you're looking for abundance, you're going to be attracted to things of abundance. If you're looking for fear and looking for lack, you're going to attract things of that nature. So it's really important to figure out what to focus your mind on. And that's why that prayer is so beautiful. It basically says, I'm a magnet. I desire abundance and success. Whatever my heart desires, I get effortlessly and easily, right? And so I think the effortlessly and easily is kind of a far-fetched thing, but it puts that nature thing out there. You know, I'm attracting things. So things that you want in life shouldn't be super hard for you, but you still got to work hard and still got to do a job or still got to go work in a factory or still got to start your business and still got to do the work. So effortlessly meaning in that my mind is like, it shouldn't be too much of a struggle. You still got to work hard. You still got to do your thing, but these should come easily to you. If you're going to be a musician, music should come easily to you. If you're going to be an athlete, you should have the body type of a basketball player if you want to be a basketball player.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Fall Rise Give, where we explore stories of resilience, growth, and giving back. If you enjoyed today's episode, please visit our website at www.fallrisegive.com. Also consider subscribing to our podcast on your favorite platform and leaving us a review. Your feedback helps us to continue to bring you inspiring stories. Stay tuned for our next episode, and remember, every fall is a chance to rise, and every rise is an opportunity to give. Until next time, keep falling, rising, and giving. This is Fall Rise Give, produced by podcastforhire.com. Thank you for listening.